I love Fall Guys. And ever since Free-for-All dropped in June of last year, I've been playing this game a lot. I've seen many people quit the game throughout the year, but I've stuck with it and been part of the community. But this may be my quitting point. And I've already seen it be a lot of people's quitting point. If you've read the title, which you probably have if you've clicked on this video, I'm going to be talking about why Fall Guys Season 4, or SS4, ruins the game forever. To catch you up, I'm starting the story in November of 2021. Fall Guys Season 6 just dropped, and it was the same as any normal season. But Epic Games had just bought Fall Guys off Mediatonic. The season was a bit of a drought. It lasted for 203 days, as the Mediatonic team were working on their biggest update yet. On June 21st, 2022, the game went free-to-play, adding brand new maps, round pools, currency, season passes, and was taken off the Steam store and added to the Epic Games store. People ended up liking this update, and this is my favorite season to date. It was also the season I started in, but whatever. The next season, a pretty good one, except for one thing, vaulting. But we'll get back to that. But if you're a Fall Guys fan, you probably know what that is. Then the next season, which brings me to a point. SS3 gave us 5 maps and a 200 level fame pass at launch, just like last season. Except last season gave us 8 maps, and only like 2 of these new 5 were good. The season had some good events that gave out full skins, but they were just reskins of other events before. The gift grab event, well, the whole month of December, was very grateful, but the rest of the season was a drought with no updates except for lame events and item shop reruns. People were furious. I mean it. Never seen a games community so mad at their developers, ever. The season was extended 4 times and lasted for 6 months. Not as long as Season 6. Just to remind you that. All this hate had come to a halt when they announced that Season 4 would include creative as its main attraction. Creative mode, the main thing the community wanted, which is the second reason this season is so crappy. See, during SS3, I believe Mediatonic saw this outrage and made the biggest mistake they could have possibly made. Adding over 50 new rounds over the course of the quote-unquote season. All maps from now on will be made using creative. Oh look, isn't it cool that you use the same map maker as us? No, it's not. Creative is designed well, but it's very basic and unprofessional as it's made for us, the player, not the developers. They seriously think they can make their game sloppy and use flashy ideas as an excuse. These maps suck in every way. Like, 2 of the digital ones look decent, and 1 of them were vaulted in the first week. The rest don't match up to the wipeout, silly, challenging aesthetic of the maps from any other season. The gameplay is horribly boring. There are only race rounds, and the final race rounds, instead of having a crown like the others, are boring, lame, ugly maps that look worse than the main ones. They thought they could get away with this? Square up? This is disgusting, even for creative standards. I've seen people make better maps in creative in 20 minutes than they did with the entire season. What's up with the original theme maps, huh? What the hell are these boring, generic race rounds that look and play nothing like the ones from Legacy Season 1? People wanted more and better maps than what they got in Season 3. Could you blame them? No. They also wanted creative, which was a given, because it was announced 6 months before the season came out. 6 months before SS3, not creative actually being released. Mediatonic focused so heavily on creative that they neglected their actual game. The marketing for the season was creative and the digital theme, but creative took up 90% of the good in this season. The collabs and fame passes are the rest of the good stuff. I don't need to talk about those because they are good. At least the first 2 fame passes. The shop, besides the good collabs, is laughably dry and bland. more so than the previous season. A quick thing before I move on to my last point, the round pool. Back in Season 3, there were 37 maps in solos. Very low amount. And at the launch at SS4, there were 57. Oh wow, 20 more maps. Wait a minute. They added 20 maps at launch. Yes, there was a change in the vaulted maps, but they were still the same amount of actual real maps than there was in the last season. That's roughly 35% of the maps being garbage. And when they actually added more maps, it got higher, much higher. All the maps on screen are the rounds in the solo round pool. Duos and squads have none of the new maps, but aren't fun to play anyways because of your teammates. Maybe that's me, I never liked duos or squads. Mediatonic gave us what we wanted, creative mode, but too much of it. They added these small updates to creative mode that nobody cares about. Nobody talks about them, nobody uses them, and they neglected their main game, their actual game. That's where they messed up. They were so focused on the cool new fancy creative mode that everything needs to relate to it or will go bankrupt. I have been motivated to make a creative map since the season release, but season, can you call that anymore? While writing the script, they announced the worst thing they've ever done. Worse than focusing on creative mode for the rest of time, and that is SS5 will never come out. Well, that's not completely true. There are no more seasons anymore. What the The entire structure of the game is based on seasonal battle passes, maps, events, and collabs. They can't stick with the same theme. I trust them to know enough that the seasonal theme forever is a bad idea, which sounds weird after what I just said about them. But there are planned to be 6 Fame passes, and probably more, with all the problems I stated earlier, with the same theme for 6 to 7 months each. The blog post clearly states that all upcoming updates for the rest of the year will be solely creative mode. We want quality over quantity. That's not what SS3 was, and this is definitely not what this is. They want the focus to be building. This isn't Minecraft. This is a game show with seasons. How do you think this properly works, Mediatonic? With monthly updates that add nothing interesting and useful to the game, and boring fame passes that we all totally care about, the whole structure falls apart completely. Yes, I know the theme will change, but if we get these pointless updates, boring fame passes, and a generic, unprofessional slop of maps, nothing will be fun anymore. Because as more awful, careless maps are added, the good ones are outnumbered, and nothing is fun. What will they do about it? Add carryable fans. These look amazingly useless. The community spark of hatred coming from SS3, creative overhype, and marketization. The game isn't about building mediocre maps, it's about playing these interesting, wacky, Wipeout-esque maps and looking good while doing so, but it's not necessary to look good while doing so. This isn't Fall Guys without seasons, and with all the other crap that I mentioned, this single update on May 10th, 2023 ruins the game forever.